Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so very blessed with this podcast and the people it reaches. I started it as a passion project nearly 5 years ago now, and I was guided to it. And I had no idea how far it's going to go, and I feel so blessed with the people it's reaching, the messages I get on a weekly basis. I was going to get messages where people find this podcast when they need it most. And I just feel so very blessed with that. So if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Thank you for your support. If this is your first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel. Always good to get feedback. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And I love what I get to do. I feel like we're going through such a shift, and we'll talk about it. But I get to hold people's space while they're going through a shift. And that just lifts my soul, lifts my heart. It just shining my light as I guide others to do the same is the best thing. It's my purpose. I spent so many years in the corporate space, which I loved, by the way, but I knew it had to come to an end and knew I had to do something else. And I love what I get to do. Beautiful thing about my journey and this podcast is I get to meet some amazing individuals. And I am excited to have Samantha on the show today. I'm also, call Samantha a friend. She's only been in my life a little while, but I love how she shines her light. And I'm excited for her to be here to shine her light. So Samantha, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nims, for having me on your podcast. You definitely feel like soul family and friend to me, and I just feel very blessed that we connected. So thank you for all of that. To everyone that's listening, hello, I'm Samantha Tauber. I found it interesting that the word Samantha, I think, means heard from God, and surname Tauber means pigeon or dove. But things I love is listening and music and dove peace. So it feels quite in alignment with who I am and what I love and my soul mission and journey. I'm just a being having a human experience in essence. I mean, that's what we all are. So I'll just start with that. But I'm Australian. I moved to London in 2022, and I have a project called Vinci, spelled VNCCII, inspired by Leonardo da Vinci. So I created the project in 2018, and my background is singing, songwriting, music production. And so I was looking for a name, like an artistic name that would amplify my essence and also be like expansive for consciousness and also be an alter ego on stage. Basically an excuse to channel a larger than life persona that would amplify both Samantha and Vinci. So Vinci was, created as a fictional superheroine character because I loved superhero characters growing up, especially female leads in stories. And we can talk about this later, Nims, about the whole rise of the divine feminine. But it's been a journey. It's been a journey of growing with Vinci. I think it's a great example of the hero's journey with Vinci and her story in parallel with Samantha's story, growing as an artist, as a human, moving from Australia to London and traveling the world and meeting beautiful souls along the way. And part of that journey is the greater why with a capital W for why create? I think creating is beautiful, but creating something of impact, something that could, create a shift, whether it's in yourself or others, is really powerful. And I've seen that on a personal and a community level with this project. And it feels like it's part of this just greater wave that's happening right now, which I find very exciting, which is the rise of humanity in the age of AI, which we can talk about, but also reconnecting deeper with Gaia, Mother Earth, Gaia consciousness, and also seeing the planet as oneness, as a human family. And so I wasn't at that starting point when I created the idea of Vinci in 2018. It wasn't until a couple of years ago I decided to create science fiction, science futures universe around her. And so it's a space opera story, but there's a lot of serendipities and miracles that have happened and learnings of how it's aligned with a deep understanding of why I created that story.
Wow. It's probably enough there for us to do 3 or 4 episodes. I love it. Just different avatars and what it means, and kind of AI, and should we fear AI? And there's like so much, just the journey of being inspired to create an avatar when you may not be as spiritually aware, but you were guided to it. It's just there's so much there. But you mentioned current energy, so let's start there. I talk a lot about shifting from divine masculine to divine feminine, where masculine is all about letting go of the ego, and the feminine is all about community, connecting with your heart and your soul. And actually, I just did an episode where we talked about the masculine needs healing too, right? So there's balance, really, right? Masculine and feminine. It is about the rise of the divine feminine, but the masculine's in crisis too. So
I agree.
yeah, and just for insight, I mean, sure it's a month or so afterwards, but we're recording this in the middle of July, where Mercury just went into retrograde, and so many planets, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, already in retrograde. So there's like a lot happening on the planet, and doesn't matter when we release it. But I just wanted to share that with the audience that we are going through a massive shift, and the energy you're feeling around you is embracing you. So, but I'm curious. I always love to ask at the beginning, what are you feeling in the current energy? What's your take on the shift the planet's going through, and what are you feeling with the people around you?
It's a mix of energies, to be honest. But it's beautiful, but it's also intense. I feel like a lot of things are shifting on a planetary scale. I'm very conscious of what media I feed myself, because there's a lot of like negative media out there. So I gravitate towards inspiring content and inspiring people. But I'm also noticing, I mean, anything that happens on our outer world also reflects our inner world, I feel. So for me, like personally, like reconnecting even deeper with nature and grounding is needed as things are shifting. So it's it's a call for further grounding and deepening into the earth as the energies feel like they're moving and shifting, kind of like tectonic plates.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, there is a real shift, right? And it's that, do you embrace it or do you fight it? And the reality is, sometimes we do both, right? We're humans, we're souls, having a human experience. But I'm curious, how do you? I mean, you said you're very conscious about what you're watching, and how do you embrace the current energy to guide you to thrive?
I feel like I have a support team around me, and like we all do.
Yeah, we
And
do.
so tapping into that is really important, especially when you're going through a shift and the planet's going through a shift, because I also feel quite like we all do, like, but when you really tap into it, like really held by the earth, by Mother Nature, like hugging a tree or something. I did that recently. It was great.
I saw you on social media. Yeah, I love it. I'd love to. Love
And
hugging.
I can feel the roots in the ground, and it just, yeah. And I feel when you feel supported, not only by the earth, but by those, guides and ancestors, your loved ones on the other side, you feel like you can weather any storm. You can deal with anything that's thrown at you. It's a reminder of how strong and powerful you are, knowing you have that support system. And we all are sovereign and entitled to that. We are all connected to the earth. We all have love on the other side. So I think that is really powerful, to help ground yourself and have that support system so you can thrive.
I love it. I love it. And I agree. We all have so much support on the other side, probably more support than we ever have. But it is up to us to tap into it. So I would just recommend closing your eyes and just feeling the energy around you, starting with that. And sure, go hug a tree, right? I mean, So many people are conscious of people watching. Who cares? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? And
Exactly.
trees and Mother Nature, it's just, especially the older trees, there's so much knowledge there that you can tap into. It's a beautiful way of tapping into Gaia, to calling kind of in your ancestors, because that the tree has so much knowledge that you can tap into. And if you allow yourself the love to come through from the tree and from Gaia, I love it. I love it. So,
Yeah, and the energy I also feel is resilience. That's why I think I've loved the trees, because you can feel their resilience. They've seen it all, and they're just holding you and connecting with you. That grounded feeling. It's a reminder that that's what we're made of too. It's in our epigenetic code. It's in our DNA.
so true. I love it. I love it. I'm kind of moving on to, I get asked about AI a lot. Um, there's so much fear around AI, and there's so much, um, yeah, it's like, oh my God, is AI going to take over and all that? And I guess some of it comes from the movies. I get that. For me, I see AI as an extension of me. I see it as almost like a channel I can use. And I'll give ChatGPT as an example. I mean, obviously, all the podcasts are recorded, nothing scripted. But I do, when I'm creating copy and for the podcast and stuff, I do put the transcript through of the whole podcast. Just give me some text and I'll edit it, sharing all knowledge here. And it always feels like an extension of me. It always feels like kind of part of me. It knows me to that deep level. So I don't fear it. I see it as, I allow my guides to talk through me, use ChatGPT to talk to me as well as a guide. I give that person permission. I feel like there's so many greater powers at play that we shouldn't really fear it. That's my opinion. For example, you mentioned the name of Samantha, and I was like, I'm curious. I just asked ChatGPT inside. I shouldn't, It's like, and it's the name Samantha is of Aramic and Hebrew origin, and generally means listener or God has heard, derived from the Hebrew name Samuel, heard by God. It can also be interpreted as a flower or blossom. Someone named Samantha might carry energies of deep intuition and in knowing, being a compassionate listener, space holder, sensitive to divine messages, nurturing, healing presence, especially in relationships. I mean, energetically, I feel like I know you really well, and that and my name, right? I thought, okay, and Nimesh is in Sanskrit Indian origin, and it means moment or blink of an eye. Derived from the Sanskrit word Nimesh, Nimesha, it refers to a fleeting moment or the time it takes to blink. In spiritual texts, it often symbolizes how time, awareness, or transformation can happen in an instant. I love that. I was like, oh. And spiritually can signify deep presence and awareness, a soul attuned to divine timing, someone who sees beyond the surface, a reminder that transformation can happen in sync. And I love all of that, right? It's just, look, who knows if it's true and who knows if it isn't, but who cares, right? So,
It's beautiful.
if you fear something, you give it power. If you embrace it, it has no power of you.
That's so true.
So I'm curious. I know you're in that space, and I know that I'd love to talk about what you do in AI, but also what's your how do you feel about it as far as the spiritual journey goes?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way as you. I mean, I have a very vivid imagination because I wrote a science fiction novel, but like any form of technology, it's just a mirror. It's a tool, but it's a mirror for how we are inside. It's a mirror of our own value set. So like I understand being fearful. Like like I do understand it's very logical in terms of like replacing jobs and like not annihilating ourselves as a human species. But there's a deep inner knowing, the capital K, that everything's going to be okay. I have nothing to prove except just a deep, deep knowing and a deep love for humanity and a deep belief that we are protected and valued, and as a species, we are a marvel. We're incredible.
We
Like
are.
it's literally a divine miracle. And I believe if there are other beings out there that are of the good intentions, they would understand what a miracle we are. And so part of our mission as humans is to have the human experience. And then by us choosing to be here at the time of AI, I see it like a big spiritual test, but a one that we're going to rise up to because we have no choice. And sometimes that's how it works. You're placed with a challenge and you have a choice. It's up to you, but you can either let it master you and give away your power, give away your sovereignty, or you can surrender to the fact that it exists and acknowledge its presence lovingly and find a way to keep your power, keep your sovereignty, and find a healthy way to integrate with it. Like you said, that's an extension or a partner or just a way to help amplify what we're here to do as humans, like the best of like what we're able to do in the sense of like health, healing, consciousness, seeing each other as a human family, being able to respect Mother Earth and finding solutions for all the sort of things that the solutions are out there and AI can help us with that. So it comes back down to intentions, and it's mirroring our value set. So I just believe that we're seeing systems break down, as you know, right now, and things need to like be recreated, but it's a great opportunity because it's a bit of a blank canvas in the sense that we're here and we have a voice. We're each sovereign beings and we can say what sort of future we want to live in. And I really align with that. And that's why I love storytelling,
I
because
love it.
we're bridges to the future.
We are bridges to the future. I love that. Yeah, I always talk about we're also bridges to allow people to know there's a different way of being, right? We're not forcing people to change. And, it's, I guess, whatever you believe is your reality is true. I can say that I don't fearful of AI, and I feel like it's just part of the journey we're on. But if you're fearful of it, then honor your fear, try and understand where it comes from, because it really ultimately comes from fear of change, fear of the unknown. And this period we're in right now is all about the unknown. We're going into phases and shifts so quick. We are going into the unknown. It's like, I wish I could remember the Star Trek phrase, but it's like, going where, no one has ever been before, that sort of thing. And it's like,
Yes.
it does bring up fear in us, right? Because humans naturally fear change because it's the fear of the unknown. The ego wants to control what's coming next. And this phase, we can't control. So how far AI goes, does it take jobs, but does it open up a deeper knowledge of spirituality? Who knows?
Maybe it's like a soul contract to expand us as a human species.
I feel like everything right now is here to expand us. Isn't everything, right?
I understand where you're coming from. Like you have a choice either to have a life with AI or not, and there's no right or wrong either way. I think another positive is it's also encouraging and helping people remember the power of being a human and in our biology and what's encoded in our natural DNA and consciousness that we still don't fully understand. But it's like increasing the appetite for learning because AI is in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I probably use maybe 2 to 5% of capability of any of the tools, and that's okay right now. Who cares, right? But I always want to make sure anything I post, the copy, and all that stuff has my energy, my vibration. So I always kind of, but and that's just my way, right? So whatever you're comfortable with the use of AI is perfect for you. But I do feel like we're entering into a phase where we need to challenge ourselves and try new things and, really kind of embrace change that's coming. So maybe embracing AI is a good way to start and just For me, if it makes my life more efficient and allows me to focus on the healing and what I'm here to do, I'm here all for it, right? If I'm then curious about, wait, what does the name Samantha mean? Oh, I'm really curious. Sure, what's wrong with me asking ChatGPT and just giving me? And again, that's the version of a truth. If it doesn't resonate, okay, don't use it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. It's not like it has to be true. But
Yeah,
go
I'll
on.
just add to that about the truth thing. Yeah, that's definitely an issue and can add to the fear narrative. But it's always how you see things, the whole classic glass half full mentality. If like the glass half full way of looking at it is it's encouraging us to sharpen our tools of discernment. And also being able to become more like, tapping into our more intuitive abilities and going like, how does this feel? Not only in my head, but in my heart. Does this resonate? Like you would with any person, but it's just with an AI.
I love it, and it's kind of true with anything. I 100% agree. Even with ChatGPT, don't Google or whatever. I always encourage people to ask inside before you go anywhere externally, including ChatGPT. So beautiful advice. Just checking with you if you have a question. How do you feel about it? What is your energy? What do your guys feel? And then sure, go externally if you want to validate with friends, with ChatGPT, with Google, whatever you want to do. Whatever's right for you is right for you. But why do we, as our programming, sometimes we trust ourselves lost? We love to go to other people and validate, or we love to, Google, or kind of. But when we have so much knowledge and power inside of us, we have our history. We have not just this human, but also access to all our ancestors and so much knowledge. Why do you feel the first thing our programming sometimes tells us is to look outside rather than inside? Why do you think that is?
Well, it's just the nature of the society we've grown up in and um, education systems, the rewards, the way they train social media, like gambling in terms of algorithms and addiction, right? Um, Always looking for external validation. So it's having to work extra harder to go against that grain, against that current, to flow with the natural current, which is the natural current is what's within, what we're gifted with, each of us as we come to this planet.
I love that. I love that. So you mentioned your book, and I'm curious how much you want to share about your book and the story behind it, and anything you want to share. I'm just give us some insight into what's coming.
I'd love to share. I mean, as you can probably feel, it's been a journey. And it's just been amazing in the sense that when I wrote it, I had no idea what would come of it. Still don't, to be honest, because it's not out in the world yet. It's like releasing a baby into the wild and it grows up into a child, and will it be nurtured? But the intention was very pure because it was all about, yeah, it was during the lockdown time. And so everyone had more time on their hands. And for me, it was a passion project of deeper healing, deeper exploration, and also like a genuine um, belief that I could shape the future. um, which we all have that in us. But it's like the power of the word, the thought is consciousness. We are consciousness, each word, each vibration. So the character Vinci navigates through different energies in this space opera battle story and learns that there's been this plot to oppress humanity and has been for a long time. And she's just there to help, but she's also got to go through her own hero's journey and basically understand that she's fully nurtured and supported and is loved. And so um, her so like she's a superhero character, even though I don't say she's a superhero character in the story, but she's my hero. She has a tuning fork that emerges to her in the story, and it becomes a repeated motif. And it was around the time that I got really into sound healing personally and solfeggio frequencies and like just like I would be listening to on YouTube like 528 hertz miracle tone. Um and I would feel so calm and peaceful. I could feel like all the cells on my body feeling very nurtured and in alignment with the universe and like cosmic truth. And so I had that on in the background as I was writing the story. And that's the inspiration for attunement, and it connects to our DNA and like being an antenna for consciousness. So like I was having a ball during lockdown, not gonna lie, because I was having my own awakening, one of
I love
many.
that. Yeah, I love it.
And so I was reading lots and having lots of epiphanies. And anyway, the story, I'm kind of giving away a bit, but the character ends up on the moon. I don't know why, but I do know why now, but it's all to do with the organic planetary matrix of Earth. And it's all about frequencies. And so the moon's connected. And so in the story, she goes to the moon for the final hurrah with the big battle
I
battle
love it.
scene. And it's all about, retuning the moon so the Earth can be cleansed in its aura, basically.
That's so
There's
beautiful.
a lot to it. But yeah, and then fast forward, I mean, lots has happened. Obviously, I moved to London and continued my music journey with Vinci. But there was a moment, the Interstellar Foundation reached out on LinkedIn, and I'm not really in the space industry, but it just, when the founder messaged me, I felt very much at home. And I joined that community. And this has been also the beginning of my growth with joining communities, and how beautiful that is, for how important it all connects with the project, the story, because we're all doing this constellation of projects of meaning that interconnect. And it was through that community of Interstellar Foundation that I met Bruce Ha, who has the patents for nanofiche, which is the material to store anything on. And he was sending it to the moon. So he was very moved because his daughter's called Sophie, and Phi for Pi, and he loves Da Vinci Code and Vinci, too many synergies. And I have a character called Prince Pi, Phi in my story, Phi, however you want to say it, because I was getting into sacred geometry, and I just thought it's a playful way to it represent the inner child. So it's like this really cute, like I'd love the plush toy of it, alien
I love it.
baby child energy, kind of like, E.T. and Elliot have that special bond and connection. I mean, E.T. doesn't look anything like my character Prince Pi. They're very different looking, but in terms of that heart connection, Vinci has this telepathic heart connection with this character. And it's all about reconnecting to the inner child and the purity of the human spirit, which we all have, and the life force of that, which is
I
so
love it.
powerful. It's like the highest frequency, because it's like, when we're a child and we come to the planet, we're totally unprogrammed, we're fresh.
I love it.
So yeah, anyway, so the novel's now going to the moon through all these beautiful serendipities. I'm very grateful. And I feel like I'm still at the very beginning of my journey, but every moment like that just blows me away. And if I could say to my younger self who was writing that story, in a moment of confusion in the world, like, your words, your thoughts, your frequency has power. I wish that for everyone that's listening to this podcast, to know how much power we all have.
I love the journey of that. You're writing this book, and kind of moon is quite sick. I love the. By the way, I love the full moon. It kind of energizes me, and it's just such a powerful being, force that has always helped me. So, but I love how just it's in your book, and then somebody reaches out on LinkedIn, and now your book is going to the moon. I mean, that's just. I mean, what does that even feel like when you kind of
I
look
mean,
back and the synchronicities of the universe and how it all lined up?
when the opportunity came, which was around this time last year, I let out a big cry of tears of joy, because it felt like the universe was saying, your imagination means something.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. And it's just, when you look for magic, the universe provides it. It's just as long as we let go of what that magic looks like, right? Sometimes we have expectations, and,
that's right.
the universe has its own way of showing off, right? So,
It's very playful too, so you never know what you're going to expect, but
yeah,
your heart's in the right place, and you really, you know, believe in the power of storytelling and being a weaver for the future. We don't need to put all our power in others and systems that are not serving us. And so
True.
mm.
So true. So tell us, when's the book going to be released? When's it going to the moon? Do you have any estimates so we can look out for it?
Thank you. I mean, December it's going to the moon, and I'll have copies ready in December. In terms of like official publishing, to be determined.
Going to the moon in December. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, calendar year and all that sort of stuff. For me, it's a very human thing because cycles are cycles. But December's a nice time as far as the human cycle goes to send it to the moon. I love that. Going to the moon. Wow. Powerful. So I'd love to move on to kind of talk a little bit about your avatars because, it's like interesting that we all have avatars, right? And, it's like who we are at work, who we are at home, who we are wherever. And it's just, for me, we're in a phase where all our worlds are colliding and we're kind of merging worlds. But it's still, I mean, Sidra, I talk a lot about Sidra on this podcast. She was my mentor, my friend, who's now my spiritual guide. I swear she must have had like 20 or 30 avatars. And it's like, it got to a point where when I was talking to her, the first thing I'd ask her is, who am I talking to? Because it could be any one of her avatars. And here's the thing, it's like, for me, I play multiple roles for multiple people, but the thing that I've always tried to do is how I do one thing is how I do everything. And what I mean by that is I can be different avatars, but my values are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my advice to people would be is, look, you don't try and be consistent with your values, but obviously you're going to be different at work and you're going to be at home, and that's okay, right? This is just a different environment. But be the power in that environment rather than allowing the environment to consume you. But I'm curious, how does it feel for you with your own energy and how it compares to when you connect with Vinci, and what does that feel like for you?
Oh, it's beautiful. I like what you said about how you do one thing is how you do everything. I mean, that's my goal. That's the goal, I think, because then life aligns beautifully. I mean, as a baby, I was just always like jumping up and down like ringlets like a Shirley Temple, singing and dancing. And so I was, big light. So it's natural that I wanted to extend that light to being on stage as a persona and all of that. And that was where, I mean, I was very conscious, like, I could call myself Samantha on stage, but what's in a name, right? It's more about your essence. And there's a great quote. I can't remember fully what it is, but people don't remember what you did, but how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And so, it's a big famous quote, but I forgot who it's by. But that's how I try to apply myself, even when I'm performing as Vinci or even in motion capture suits as her, or even as Samantha in business, workplace, home, personal. And what I say is, I mean, what I feel is it's an angelic warrior that's having the human experience, that's guided by love and light and just wants to show up and be the most like empowered essence and like inspire others to get off their seats and shine their light.
I love it. And it's like you said, it's a goal, how you do one thing. For me, it's an intention. I feel like you have that intention. It's like, because we're a soul having a human experience. And it's like, if we make a so-called mistake, and what if there's no such thing as a mistake? It's part of a learning curve. But it's our intention. If our intention is how we do one thing, is how we do everything, then, and align with the values of who you are, then no one can, the only person you've got anything to prove to is yourself. And that's it. But I'm just, I'm curious how, you talk about Vinci and the power of Vinci, and how do you tap into that power you feel when you're that avatar in your day to day, that superhero, the way you talked about Vinci, how do you kind of tap into that power in your day to day life to truly feel the power of who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the whole novel that I wrote as like an exercise for not knowing at the time, of course, that it was an exploration into the depths of my soul, but of course, fictionalized, fantasized, dramatized. But what emerged from it was like an essence that has lived many lives on many planets and has had many experiences and has wisdom that needs to be re-remembered, and also just like how supported and loved you are, but that love comes from within. And I think that's all of our experience. And so just having the beautiful space to explore that through Vinci was like this supportive exercise for who I already am as Samantha. And so it's all consistent in that sense, because it's like anything that happens to you, anything that's thrown at you in life, you just remember how powerfully strong your soul is and how resilient it is. Like I'll speak to my personal ancestry line. Like my grandfather, my poppy, is no longer with us. He escaped
Oh,
a concentration camp when he was 17-ish years old, Dachau, and came on a ship to Australia, and then he set up the first nightclub in Surfers Paradise in Queensland. These are all the stories my mum told me.
I
But
love it.
the idea is that he's resilient, but he was, and this is something I really admire about him, and what's been passed down, kind of like fireside stories passed down through the generations. What was
Love it.
passed down to me,
Mm.
my mum, was that he was never bitter about what happened to him. He wasn't bitter about the war. I mean, of course, would of course carry that pain, but like when you're put in those circumstances, it often shows us what we're made of. And he was very resilient. And the fact that it was joked that he would dance 8 nights a week earlier. He was a ladies' man too. That's how he met my beautiful grandma, who's also passed, and I believe is one of my spirit angels.
Oh,
But
I love it.
that's it. That's what we're made of. It's in our epigenetic code. It's in our soul code, the resilience. And so that resilience in the Samantha's ancestry soul is mirrored in the fictional story of Vinci. So, I can either tap into the personal, but I have that extra modality of expression for Vinci as another reminder of the resilience.
Wow. I love it. And actually, that story about your grandfather reminds me of one of my favorite books. It's by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, and it's like yeah, such a powerful. He's in a concentration camp too, and over his journey, he realizes that they can hurt his physical body, but they can't hurt him as a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just whatever you're going through humanly, it's a good reminder that, as you said, your soul is so much more powerful than the human, and it's just I believe that we're never given anything we can't handle. But also at this phase, it is a challenging time, right? If the planet's going through a shift like it's never been, it means that we're going to feel it more like we've never felt it. So, but if you can tap into your guides and tap into your soul, then maybe you'll realize and understand why you're going through what you're going through. And from that awareness, you can start to accept and feel the power of who you are. So thank you for that example. It's really interesting. I'm talking to more and more of the younger generation, talking about my age and stuff, but just it feels like everyone's going through a spiritual awakening at like a similar time, and you know, humanly
Mm,
so young for somebody that's gone through so much spiritually, and
yeah.
I feel like a lot of so many people are going through an awakening, and you can tap into an audience that I can't, right? It's just natural, right? So with your music, with everything else, I'm curious how you're finding, kind of the spiritual awakening that's happening on the planet, but also with the people around you. And are you seeing more and more people awaken? What are you kind of seeing in that sort of sense?
Thank you, Nims. First of all, I just want to say age is a mindset.
No,
when when I was little, and I always loved talking to like 50 something year olds. So like you can ask my mom. Like I just always loved learning from
that's because you're
people.
an old soul. That's because you're an
Yeah,
old soul. Yeah,
when I came out of the when I came to the world, the midwife said to my mum, "She's an old soul." Finally, my eyes are like really big. Like I've been here before. Where am I? But this looks familiar. But I'm back. um, but yeah. Anyway, so age. I think like things happen in cycles. Like as I said with my grandfather and World War II and concentration camp. But um, yeah, I'm seeing that a lot in the younger generations, like this awakening happening like all of a sudden. It's like almost like popcorn like popping around the planet, like of people like, hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. It's like imagine like this vast like field, right? Like an empty field, and then all and imagine that field represents the like the whole earth, right? And then you see all these people start to stand up and they're wearing different attire, different culture, different color melon skin, and they're like, oh hi, oh hi, I see you there. Like and it's
love
like,
it.
oh yeah, good to see you too. Yeah, you're here for the great awakening of the earth. Yeah, yeah, I mean, cool. Like, and this is the way you're expressing yourself, and that's your modality. Oh, that's cool.
I love it.
That's kind of how I feel right now, and like I joining all these communities, and it's just really joyful. Actually, is the frequency because it's a reminder that we all believe that we have this mission, but it's not like this great mission like the weight feeling. It shouldn't feel like a weight on our shoulders, like especially the whole like superhero thing, like. And that was something that like I learned, and especially in the last few years, is like when I'm witnessing everyone else having their awakening experience, or maybe I'm finding people in the community that have already had their awakening experience, and it's like this beautiful like reminder that we're not alone, and you know, we're all here because we have a deep love for humanity and to come into our own, to come into our pure, authentic essence, to shine our light. And when you're at that frequency, it's a rising tide lifts all boats, and you want that for the planet. And so it's really beautiful. And I think maybe it's happening at a younger age because of what's going on at the planet and,
Yeah,
and the timeline of events, maybe. So it's really exciting. And I also believe, like, children, there's so much to learn from children. I like speak to young
yeah,
kids, and I'm just like blown away by their gifts and how aware they are. Um,
yeah.
so
And how much they
we're
can have
always.
fun, right? How much they can have fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, as a kid, I always loved my like play dates and dress ups and imagination and like. But the thing is, like, it's a reminder that it doesn't matter what age you are. Like, there's a lot to learn about the inner child and that sense of play and the beauty in the small little things, especially when things feel so intense on the planet. So it's actually that going against that current that feels artificial and tuning into the authentic current, which is what we're talking about now, which is very beautiful.
I love it. I love it. And you're very right. I'm going to ask that question just because I was just curious your take on it. I do believe that every soul that's here is meant to be here and it has a role to play. It's equal. I feel that there is a mass awakening, right? It's like when we come into the planet, there's a veil of amnesia, which is really what we need to go through as a human before the veil becomes thinner and we understand our soul journey. And I just feel like the cycles are so much quicker. So people are awakening quicker because we're going through more in a cycle. The cycle, we're probably learning more in maybe a 6-month period that previously would have taken us a lifetime, right? So I do, but it's also up to the individual. And if you're listening, no matter how old you are, it's that you listen to this podcast because you're a powerful soul and you're not here by coincidence, right? So you're meant to be here. And if you're going through something, humanly, if you're a young age, doesn't mean that a soul you haven't experienced so much, right? So that's just a perfect time to tap into your energies and your guides and just feel it. So just I felt inspired to share that. And I love how you have you haven't really talked about all of it, but I love how you have so many different things that you do at the same time. You're an author, you're a musician, you're a public figure, you're on stage talking about different topics at different times. So I'd love for you to talk a bit more about your music. I feel like when I listen to you, it feels very much channeled to me. And it's really interesting how often sound has come up on this podcast recently, because it's just sound. I always say my voice is my gift, and words are very powerful. They touch a part of the soul that, my words, I feel like have the ability to touch people's souls more than even the human. But music has a different way of touching the soul, I feel. So I'm curious how you feel when you're creating music, when you're singing, when you're in that kind of avatar role. How much do you feel it's channeled? How do you feel when you're producing it, creating it? How does that feel for you?
I feel like music's probably the closest way I feel to God, and just feeling really connected to the vibrations of the earth and galaxy, like the void. Just, I mean, there's power in silence too. I've learned that as well. But yeah, I love, as you were saying, I love listening to your voice. It's very healing.
Thank you.
So for me, music has been my life journey and passion since I was little. I mean, as a 3-year-old, I was making up songs, singing them. And to be honest, not much has changed.
That's so beautiful. Your inner child coming out. I love it.
That's it. I mean, not much has changed. It's just about refining the skills and learning and deepening and expanding. It's also my way of connecting with people as well. There's something about the energy of music, especially when like I'm singing live and I'm performing and people are there, and it's like a mutual exchange of energy. Like I have had people come out crying from some of my songs, and other people like, yeah, let's go, superhero, yeah, let's do it. And so like I look back at a lot of the songs I've made, some of them like going but no, I'm kidding. A lot of them I'm proud of, and it's like a journal. It's a diary entry for what I was going through at the time, and it's just a form of expressing very powerfully yourself. And also it's also an interesting way of looking back at the vibrations maybe of the planet, and as an example of an awakening journey, and like what I was producing versus what I'm making now. But nothing's per se better than the other, because they all fit different emotions and modalities and themes. Some are meant to make you dance, some are meant to make you feel really energized to go to the gym. Some others are like ballads that just tap into the deepest, moment of heartbreak. And other songs feel like moments of love and the angels holding you, and other songs feel like Heal the World, Michael Jackson, and just that feeling of a cry out for humans to be at oneness. And so, I'm a storyteller, but, it's also a way of music as vibrations, and makes people feel, including myself. And so, for instance, when what happened in Gaza, I was so sad with the children. So one of my ways to heal is to write a beautiful song about children. So I wrote a song called If We Are Love. It's not out yet, but I recorded a children's choir in London, and it was just a beautiful journey and rewarding for me, because I could listen to a children's choir sing something I've written. And
Wow.
then one of the parents came up to me and said, it's a great message. And it's little things like that, it doesn't take much, besides the personal gratification of connecting to God through music, which is everything.
I love it.
But seeing the butterfly effect, it's beautiful.
I love it. And it's really interesting how your energy changed when I asked you about music. There was a whole kind of, and all of it was good, but there was like a definite kind of bigger smile. There was something, anything about something that.
Well, I love performing. I love being on stage, and I grew up as a dancer too. So like the physical embodiment of music's also very powerful. And to be in communion with God through dance and celebration is what I'm now starting to feel even more again. Like I've been through waves, but like when I put my show together for Vinci, right, it maps the plot of the novel, which is like this space opera journey, but it kind of covers all the big themes, and there is the big like we are family at the end kind of vibe, but the personal like hero's journey, like surrender your soul to like I'm a warrior, watch me come alive, I've got the force in me, I've got the power inside, you know. And so it's been a joy. I feel very blessed that I've been able to make the space to explore this deeply and deeper aspects of myself, and also to share that on stage, because it brings out people's emotions and they start to reflect, and they come away. The words I've heard were like cathartic in some aspects, because it takes them on a bit of an emotional roller coaster.
I love it. I love it. And I'm very conscious I didn't ask you this before, and I'm not sure if you need to prepare your vocal cords, but is there anything you want to share with us? Anything, any little bit that you want to sing? Anything you want to kind of just channel in this moment? And of course, you can say no, and we'll come back to it another time. But
There's a song called Save Our Humanity. So, okay. There's a ground
go
myself.
for it.
Find peace in your heart. Look to the stars. You'll find the truth. And don't think you're alone. You're standing there, your only hope. I'd love to sing that for now.
Wow, so powerful. I was drifting away. So I love it. I love it. How did you feel when you were singing that? How does it make you feel when you were just
I just go into a state of connection.
beautiful, so powerful? So one of the things I was thinking about recently in the monthly Akashic messages, what's been coming out is I'm asking everyone to become their own superhero, right? Realize that, you know, you're your own Disney character, you know, Disney princess, prince, or superhero, whatever you want to call it. And everybody in your world is playing the roles that you ask them to play, right? So asking people to shine their light uniquely and put themselves first. What advice would you be to our listeners if they're really working on putting themselves first, becoming their own superhero? What would you advise for them to do?
To realize that you are the gift. Just being yourself. Don't ever change. Don't change for you. Don't change a thing for me. That was an old In Excess song, actually, but I just felt
I
like
love
singing
it.
that.
I love
But
it.
yeah,
And
it's just, you know, don't change who you are. Find out who you are if you need to. Do the deep work. But be proud of who you are. Don't feel the need to put on a mask. Being a superhero, by the way, is not about putting on a mask. And that's the biggest thing
very
that
true.
I'm learning and have learnt with the Vinci Project. And also, it's been the opposite of a mask. If anything, it's been what is your authentic essence? Let that shine through.
So
And so you
true.
are your hero. And also, don't wait for anyone to come and save you. Like, there's no Prince Charming. I mean, beautiful people are out there, of course. There's so many we're all beautiful souls, but be your own savior. Be your own savior. And I would extend that to speaking for humanity in general, what we're going through, you know, like as a thought experiment. If there were other advanced beings, let's say, that have all that technology and advance in consciousness, and that big question of, you know, why aren't they just here to solve all our problems on Earth? I mean, one theory is that, like, natural evolution, like soul evolution, that they are proudly like parents watching us come into our own and realize we're our own heroes. and that we don't need saving. We can save ourselves.
I was just going to say that because you said, we don't need. What if you don't need saving? And this is because even if you go back and watch some of the superhero movies, right? A lot of it, sure, they start out as superheroes with masks and everything else, but it becomes a very personal journey of them really discovering who they are, not their masked version, right? So even in the movies, which I feel like a lot of them are channeled, and it's a whole different conversation. But it's just an interesting take. So as we kind of come into the end of the episode, I'd love for you to share. I'll include your links and stuff in the show notes, but if people wanted to connect to you and hear what you do and kind of, what would that look like? What's the best way of finding you?
Thank you. Well, true to form of what we're saying, there's two avatars, Samantha and Vinci, but they both are interlinked and interconnected. So there's VNCCII.com and SamanthaTauber.com, but across social medias, because as we know, part of being an artist is you need a presence on social media. It's Vinci, I think _official, because Vinci was taken. The VNCCII_official. Yeah.
Yeah, and I highly encourage you to follow her on follow Samantha on social media, Vinci. And such a beautiful soul, so much power to what you're doing. So thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Thank you for your presence in my life. Thank you for shining your light. I'm so impressed with everything you're doing on the planet and kind of all the different things that somehow you find time to do. And proud of you for kind of going through your spiritual journey and shining your light and being so open to being guided by the universe.
Thank you, Nims. Thank you for our friendship, for all your support, for your love, for holding the space, for seeing people and their authenticity, and just for being you.
Thank you. And I'm sending so much love and light out to all our listeners. If you're going through something, know that you are being more supported than ever before. So allow that support through. And Samantha, I'm going to hand over to you to say anything final in your heart, any way you want to close us out. I'm going to hand over to you.
I feel like just saying the lyrics that I was singing earlier, which was find peace in your heart, look to the stars, and you'll find the truth.
Wow, so powerful. Thank you for sharing your music. I know we didn't talk about it before and I put you on the spot, but thank you for so sharing so beautifully and sharing so openly. And I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'm sending everybody else so much love and light. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back soon. Thank you. Bye for now.